guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Well, as you see, I've finally skimmed my wall in 5 millimeter MDF. so I'll get some walls in here. This place will be looking pretty good. I'll get some lights in going and everything else. Thank you guys for your patience. I know that sounds silly. It's like, dude, we don't care, but there's something about being a YouTuber and you're like, I want my sound to be good. I want a good looking studio. And I see all these people with really nice backdrops and everything. And then I look at me and I'm like, just got these yellow framed walls that look absolutely horrible. So I'm kind of excited to be able to have a studio here. And this won't even be my final studio. This will eventually be my wood workshop. And the stove I'll keep here for the winter time. So the other workshop's going to be in the basement in the house, so that way when it rains, you can actually hear me. So Tom Brady, geez, man. Tom Brady's divorce saved him from a miserable wine mom. You know, something we don't hear often is that, like when we read the stories, right? Like I read the story about Tom and Gisele Bündchen leaving him and everything like that. And you kind of say, well, here's another woman filing for divorce, and it's always the women that file it. And supposedly he's a great dad, but he wasn't, home enough because he wanted to play football and blah, excuse. But it turns out, when they do stories like this, they don't realize they're kind of slipping a little information out. Every once in a while, they slip a little information out that gives you an idea of, hey, you know what? Sounds like she wasn't a great person. And maybe it's better for Tom because now Tom can downgrade by 15 years, get a woman that probably will find him very attractive and a good catch, considering he's basically a male supermodel with a Super Bowl rings, 7 of them, I think, and still, I'd say in his prime at 40 something or other. Gisele Bündchen discusses very tough times 1 year after divorcing Tom Brady. My first take on this is, yeah, so what? You're the one that wanted the divorce. You're the one that wanted to leave. You're the one that was upset that he was going to keep playing football. You're the one that says, oh, he was a great dad, but he wasn't around for the family enough, even though he provided God knows how much money to the family. And Gisele she's successful. She makes money, but her money is about to end, guys. Let's face it, 42-year-old supermodels don't really exist. I'm sure she'll get some covers of Vogue magazine calling her stunning and brave in another 5 or 10 years when she's got gray hair. But her income's pretty much over. So whatever she's got now, and she just bought, I think, a new house in Miami. So anyway, they say Gisele Bündchen discussed some elements of her life after divorcing NFL star Tom Brady last year, including focusing on self-care and raising the couple's children following their split. Oh, let me mention this too. I think I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold or laryngitis or something or other. I've got one of my lymph nodes here is swollen and my voice is kind of scratchy. So just understand if I don't sound my normal self. They say it's been a very tough time on my family. Well, that's your fault. See, again, oh, this has been very tough. This is awful. I'm having such a hard time. Yeah, but you chose to do it. So that's on you. That's the thing I don't get with this stuff. And let me just mention this. Let me just jump in and mention this before I finish reading even this paragraph. So many times people say, why don't you want to get married? And I say, if you really love somebody, if a woman really loves a man, she will not marry him and he will not marry her. And they'll say, why? Covenant, and it shows you really love him and ties you together. No. It's because a woman gets cash and prizes when she walks away. A woman that really loves a man will stay with him just because he's a good man. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't maybe help her out with some things and isn't there for her protection. Doesn't mean that he doesn't maybe pay for dates or help her when she has her struggles, like a husband would. But it also means she can't take advantage. It also means she can't lose, become heavy or gain weight. And it also means if he's a jerk, she can walk away. But again, the difference is that then she has to walk away without the cash and prizes. So like a lot of people say, like, oh, why are you so against dating and women? I'm not at all. If you find a great woman, date her. Date her forever. Date her for the rest of your lives. Just be careful if you live together because you have to look at cohabitation laws. But as far as marriage, no way. No way. It ties your boat to her anchor. And here's a perfect example. So it's been very tough on our family. It's been a lot in every area of my life. Well, again, you chose it. The 43-year-old model told People magazine during a recent in-depth interview, "I feel like whenever it rains, it pours. With all the different twists and turns that life takes, all we can do is the best we can given what happens in our surroundings." That sounds very much like a statement of somebody that had something crazy happen to them. Like if I said, "Oh man, I was doing this and my car broke down and I was in the middle of nowhere and I had to go to this little house and sleep in a barn, and then the farmer found out I slept with his daughter and came after me." That's when you say, like, man, when it rains and pours and twists and turns and all we can do is what's given. You made this. You made the twists and turns happen. You made it pour. You made the problems for yourself. But this is how women talk. Like, I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't me, even though I divorced him. Bündchen and Brady were married 13 years ago and are the parents of son Benjamin, 13, daughter and Vivian, 10. The supermodel said she spent a lot of time meditating and exercising to get through her divorce. Now, here's not this paragraph, but the next, because that's where I'm just like, wait, what? "I think if I didn't have all the different tools that I have to support me during these times, it would have been very hard." Well, it was your decision. Again. Now, what were some of those tools? Alcohol. They say the celeb added that she cut alcohol out of her diet right after I turned 40. "Actually, I felt a huge difference between when I had the glass of wine and when I didn't have the glass of wine," she told the outlet. Now, let me pause here for just a moment. If somebody decides, hey, you know what, I'm gonna quit the drinking, I'm gonna quit the smoking, I'm gonna quit I think that's awesome. So no shame on that. But again, always, this is a trick that I learned very carefully through many trial and error. Always read between the lines. That's the trick. Read between the lines and watch what they do and not what they say. She said right here, when I had the glass of wine and when I didn't have the glass of wine, I felt a huge difference. Now, I've had a glass of wine before. And if she'd been doing this for, a normal amount of time, a few months, 6 months, a year, you build up tolerance to where one glass of wine, it's not going to bother you much unless you're a 98-pound girl that, doesn't drink very often. But she says it's socially accepted to have a glass of wine, and people even say, oh, it's healthy for you. Well, it's not healthy for me, Bündchen went on. If you want to ask of your body what I ask of my body, which is a lot, I can't be having all these things, alcohol, caffeine, because they add up. Now, that's the part that kind of throws me a little bit, and I'll visit this in a second. The busy mom said she's felt clearer, sharp, and present since giving up drinking, and I'm sleeping much better. Bündchen has also insisted that mothers should think of self-care as selfish. You don't, this is what I'm talking about. Like, there's a lot of you guys out there that have a beer at the end of the evening. If you watch live streams like Rakita Law, I've been on his stream twice now. I like Rakita Law. When he does his live streams, he has a couple of shots of really good whiskey, like a really good whiskey, during his stream. And he's up till like 3 a.m. doing sometimes the streams. And then he's up at 8 or 9 taking his kids to school. And then he comes home and maybe grabs another hour or two of sleep. He's never been like, oh, I feel awful. What he does say makes him feel awful is when he eats like crap and doesn't exercise, which is universal for all of us. But if all of a sudden you feel clear, sharp, and present, that's the huge one, present, since she stopped drinking and is sleeping much better. That's not a glass of wine. I mean, help me out, guys, right? If you have a beer and while you're out to dinner and you come home, it's nothing, right? It doesn't change. What if you had a 6-pack or a 12-pack every night? Then you might not be sleeping so well. Then you might not feel very clear, sharp, and very present. She says, it's not a selfish thing. People have been teaching us it's selfish. Take care of yourself. Okay, whatever. When you feel good, you're a better mom. You're a better friend. You're calmer. You're more patient. You're more loving. You're more grounded. Why do you make those statements? You know, when I'm in a good mood and somebody says, "Oh, when you feel good," what's the difference between when you feel bad and when you feel good? My answer would be like, I'm more energetic. I'm in a better, like I laugh. I'm in a better mood. Like I'm a happier person. You know, I'm out and about more. I'm more productive, getting stuff done around here. She says, you're a better friend. You're calmer. You're more patient. You're more loving. So usually you talk in opposites. So like, because I'll tell you right now, again, if I had a ton to drink, it'd be like, oh, I don't feel very energetic. I don't feel very good. I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like sleeping on the couch. I'm not very productive. I might be a little grumpy, right? You kind of talk in opposites. Do you get what I'm saying here? So when she says, I just in the last 2 years, because she's 42, I think they said, and she said since 40. So that's only 2 years. They've been married for 13 years. She says, when you feel good, you're a better mom, you're a better friend, you're calmer, you're more patient, you're more loving, you're more grounded. So you can't feel guilty about prioritizing yourself. Just the way her words come out makes it sound to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but you guys let me know. It makes it sound to me that when she was drinking and she was married, she wasn't a very good friend, she wasn't very calm, she wasn't very patient, and she wasn't very loving, and she wasn't very grounded, or at least less than she is now. So why not try this stuff and kick the drinking to the curb and get yourself in a better place while you're still married, while you might want to still stay with the husband of 13 years. Only after she leaves him and then decides to clean up and everything, then she's like, okay, now I'm actually good. She says, because that's loving you and loving the people you love the most. You mean like leaving your husband? Which are going to be impacted by how well you are, because if you're sick, everyone hurts. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this sounds like a woman kind of on the backside of some bad years. And I think Tom got, near the end of their time together, I think they were having some rough years. She talks about her kid a little bit more, but this is my point. When you're married, and look, and I this is the crazy thing. When I was young, I wanted to find the right woman to marry. I was married at 21 years old. Now, it was not a good selection by my part. But you know what? I was willing to work through it. I was willing to work it out because, my father said, be a good man. And if you make the woman you love happy, she'll make you happy, and you guys can work through the rough patches. And nope, that didn't work. And then I tried again when I was 28. I tried it again. I really believe that marriage and having, a loving family around you, not necessarily kids. I've never really wanted kids. But I felt like, this is the right way. This is how, you find the right person. The wife that I found, both of them actually didn't want kids. So I was like, great, it'll be the two of us against the world, and we'll do well for ourselves and go on lots of vacations together, enjoy time. Nope. Get that idea right out of your head. Didn't want to work on it. And the problem is now today that even if you're together 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever years, here's 13 years, both very beautiful, very successful people. If they can't even stand each other, how does anybody else think they're going to? And people change and people grow, and so many times people don't want to work on, whether it's the guy or the woman, a lot of people just don't want to work on a relationship, and so it falls out. So how do you protect that? How do you protect your assets as a man? How do you protect your sanity? How do you keep her in check? How does she keep you in check? Because marriage doesn't mean anything anymore. Because people just get divorced at a drop of a hat. How do you make it meaningful? By having the ability to walk away at any point in time, no strings attached, no penalties or punishment to either person. Now you talk to conservatives like Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro, wherever, they'd call me crazy. But I'll tell you something now, when something goes bad for them, if something goes bad for me and the girlfriend, gains 100 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever, or she starts being neurotic and weird, or starts having too many glasses of wine and deciding to become not a very good person, I can just simply say, here's your sweatshirt that you left over here. bye, goodbye. That's it. It's done. And the same thing goes for her. If I get to be mean, or if I start having a couple of glasses every night, starting to be a crotchety old man yelling at kids to get off my lawn, and she says, I don't want any more of this. And I say, well, just leave then. And she leaves. Done. Where a lot of people stay together because they're married and he could lose the kids and he could lose the house. And she feels like she knows this. She knows this. So she's like, if I want to get fat and become an angry wine mom, what are you going to do about it? You going to divorce me and give me half of your assets and the kids? No. So shut up. And men are trapped. I think Tom dodged a nightmare. Now, maybe I'm grasping at straws here. Maybe I am. And maybe she wasn't like that. But my point still stands valid, that men need the ability to walk away. And when you talk about, now that I've stopped doing that stuff, I'm healthy and I'm sleeping better and I'm clear and I'm sharp and I'm present and I'm more loving and I'm more grounded and I'm friendlier and I'm calmer and I'm more patient. That to me sounds like she wasn't a very good person. Maybe not, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. And I think Tom's lucky for getting out of the way before things got even worse. Guys, don't forget, I've got a sale, not really a sale, a kind of a support. If you want to become a supporter over at Locals, it's like $3 a month right now if you sign up for a year. I would really appreciate the support. After seeing everything that's happened with Russell Brand and all these other content creators and the government trying to literally take their money away from them because of things that were supposedly they did, being independent means a lot to me. So I'd really appreciate it if you went over there, became a supporter today. Great forums. We do movie nights. We do sports events and stuff like that. Join us over there. I think you'll really enjoy it. And we'll see you in the next one.